was wondering, baby, would it make us go crazy? Baby, would I make you my baby? My baby, my baby, my baby, my baby.
Cause you already know when it's coming to dinner, that he loves your body and mind the way I do. Cause you told me.
Hey everyone, welcome to NFP Friday. It is April the 4th, and we have had a pretty interesting week. A lot of news today and some crazy news day before yesterday. So the market has been kind of crazy. We're waiting for it to settle down. I know I am, so that I can get my normal everyday trades. Those of you that trade news, this is a dream for you because it's crazy. So let's talk about the tariffs. The tariffs that Trump has pretty much put on other countries that have product in the U.S. Wanting to sell. And it kind of made the market dump a little bit. The day after, though, the day of, it kind of went up some more and capped off to come down. So I believe there's a correction in the market right now. With gold specifically, I'm thinking that if we look on the higher time frame, it could be in a demand zone with this huge volume candle here. A lot of this had to do with some of the news this week, and it just kind of melted. We're gonna see if the daily candle ending today respects this zone, and just pay close attention to it. I know there is still some news that's pending with Powell speaking in about he just spoke in about 5 minutes. He's got about 5 more minutes. So we have some incoming news coming to be released. So if you're in the market, good luck. I just want to see how the current candle will react to that. So on the daily time frame, we are still in an uptrend. It is trending above the moving average, and it is still making higher highs and higher lows. We had a W pattern here to where we were able to continue up. Let me change the color so you can see it. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's see. Let's change the color. Let's change the color of the background. Let's do that. Let's change the color of the background, because sometimes that's a little easier in the middle of a stream. So changing the background, if we can look at the demand zone here, and this actually works better. I can see better. And we have the W pattern here, and then it shot up, did some retracements in this area, and it's still on an uptrend long term. For the intraday, day trading, people that like to get in and get out of the market on a daily basis, we still have a pretty good amount of volume. Remember, the news is coming in about 4 minutes. I'll stay on until the news hits, and then we'll see how it reacts with that change. Currently, the volume is crazy, and it is still going down. But if you look on the 5-minute time frame, let me take the volume off just for a minute so y'all can at least see this. So taking the volume off, you see the consolidation range. These are orders being collected. And for a push up or a push down, whether it's going to go in either direction, it's a 50-50 chance. Nobody knows, right? So we do our analysis, and we base what bias we have in the market based on the everyday analysis that we use according to our trading plan. Remember, this is a 50-50 chance, just like it is every day. Sometimes you have more of a better chance if you have an edge on your strategy. Just make sure you're using proper risk management. I can't stress it enough, especially if you're trading news. So the zone that I have on the 5-minute is the zone that I have on my daily. So it's the demand zone. We're trying to see if it's going to respect that on the long-term end. On the short-term end, we're basically looking to see if any of the candles in this consolidation range is going to break out to the upside and respect this moving average. So I'm looking for a break above this area on my 5 minute. And it could still be kind of, because there's a lot of zones here. Remember that has resistance areas. That was previous support. So in the market today, I am done. I got in this morning and I'm green today, but I got in and got a very small amount, and I'm happy with that. I just didn't want to be in the market with the news. So we got about a minute and some change left in the news that Powell's going to be releasing, and we'll see how this range is going to affect us if you're in trading to get any trades. It is trending below the moving average on the 15-minute chart. It broke below this area here. So I mean, there's technically some downtrend sentiment, but we're kind of like in the middle. You see where the moving average is breaking through the actual candlesticks? That is a consolidation range area there. So, I mean, I'd say sit on your hands, wait. Being that there's news going to be released, I wouldn't trade it immediately. I'd wait a good 10-15 minutes beyond news. And the market's just not my cup of tea for today. So we got news coming in less than a minute. So let's see how we do here. Remember, if it breaks above these two key areas, I'll probably take a buy. But being that there's so much noise, it could be going up to tap into this zone. But remember, it's news. There's no rhyme or reason with news. It just spikes, and if you're not careful, you can wipe out your account. So just be careful. It's 10:25, so the news is being released currently. Let's see where we go. But we're looking to see if that range is going to be respected. This demand zone here, if it's going to respect that demand zone. So I probably wouldn't get in until I see the demand zone being broken. On the bigger time frame, you can see it here. So let's see what we've got. That's a 4-hour candle that has about an hour and 33 minutes left on it. Good morning. I'm also streaming on a different device, y'all. So let's just see what we've got with Powell's news. I mark up the zones just because when it approaches those areas, I'm really in tune to see how it reacts. And that helps me with if I'm already in a trade, it helps me adjust my stop loss or decide whether to stay in or ride it. And then if I'm not yet in a trade, it helps me to determine whether I'll get into that trade or not. So it's dynamic. Trading is pretty dynamic. I have another exciting thing to discuss with y'all too. So not much of any movement. It is 10:27 at this point. Don't know necessarily what Powell discussed. We're dropping down to the 5 minute. We're still in a consolidation range. No spikes noted, but we are still trending below the moving average. On the higher time frames, we are still trending upwards on an uptrend, and on the lower time frames, we are trending below the 50 moving average. Making lower highs and lower lows. So right now it's a 50-50 chance on whether you're taking a buy or a sell. This is not financial advice. This is strictly what I would be doing. I am out of the market for today. Out. So as you can see in that range, until the candle actually closes, it is not something we can actually go by. So always, even if it wicks out of that area, make sure the candle closes outside of that area to confirm. We love retests, but for those of you that do breakouts, that's great too. Just follow your strategy. Okay. Let's see what type of volume we have. Still got quite a bit of volume. Have the news here. Looks like we're trying to go on the sell side. And there we go. Give you another few minutes and then we'll see what we have here. For a short-term scout, you could probably take a sell. This is not financial advice. I would look for a break below this area, and we are breaking and hopefully closing below these areas. The news has been released by Powell. He was speaking at 10:25 Central Standard Time, my time. Got 28 seconds left on this current 5-minute candle. Let's see if we close within this zone or outside of it, and then we'll reanalyze. We don't have, because of all the wicks and everything, we really don't have any fair value gaps that I can just eyeball. If you can see, and I'm climbing up the time frames, we got a little bit here and here on the higher time frames, but on the smaller time frames, it's filling all the gaps due to all the activity going on today. And then of course on your current candle, it's still being created on the 4 hours, so there's no imbalances that we can see. If you can pay attention, we got 5. We closed on the 5-minute candle. It's still bearish and it closed below that consolidation area. Let's see if it retraces and continues down or if it changes. Pay attention to the area that I have circled on the chart. That's what we're looking for as far as activity and how it responds in those areas. How many can you drop down in the chat that actually trade news? Occasionally I do, but just because of all the news released this week alone, is NFP, Powell speaking, just because of all the news, it's been saturated with news. I just really want the market to finally just balance out so that, you know, it can be nice and smooth as far as the trades. Next week, let's see what we have next week for news while we're waiting on this trade to play out. So we'll start on Monday with not any news actually that I can see that's going to push the market with a lot of volume in it. On Tuesday will be the first day that we have news for JPY in New Zealand. Since we trade gold, we look for USD. And that's not until Thursday of next week as far as some high volume news. It's CPI. So next week may be a little slow coming in if you trade gold or NAS or the Dow or anything like that. But you may get some trades on the other Forex pairs if you trade Forex pairs in addition to those. So it looks like it's just kind of stagnant here, y'all. Nothing forced. It is about 10:32, coming up on almost 10 minutes since Powell began speaking. Do we know if Powell is done? We don't know that yet. So let's hang out a little bit. Gonna wait until the end of this next candle just to see where we are. If it's gonna push below the close of the previous candle, we can kind of think bearish. If not, we'll probably stay in some type of consolidation until the early afternoon hours, which I will not be here for. So I just want to hang out for the news just so you can get a general idea of, you know, how I analyze the market. Everybody has their own little twist. There's no one way fits all. So just be mindful of that. What works for someone else may not work for you. So we are looking like we are going to push below the previous low from the close of the candle before this one. We got about 54 seconds on this current candle on the 5-minute chart for gold. Hey, Philip. I'm a futures trader / Forex trader. Forex is my first love, and we are pushing. Let's see if we can get a close. If you can, drop in the comments what you traded today, or if you traded at all, or if you just stayed out of the market. That is part of the job just as well. Actually, I think that's one of the more important decisions that you make when you are trying to decide if you're a trader. If you can stay out of the market when it is tearing you apart and you want to just hop in and make some instead of losing, I think that is an executive decision. Smart money. But yes, so we got a bar that is closed bearish, like a little pin bar, but it may continue to push down. Like I said, I have some things to do today. We'll come back and revisit whether or not it pushed down below that demand area that we saw on the daily chart, which is, I'm thinking it's probably respecting that area. If it respects this area, we can look for a continuation on the uptrend with gold. If it breaks below and closes in this area, we can start trying to see if it's a reversal in effect, because you have this area here that's kind of like in the middle of deciding if it wants to stay on a large scale in an uptrend, because if it breaks below this area here, you can start trying to kind of see if it's filling gaps or if it's trying to look for a reversal. And then at the point where it breaks below the 50 moving average, for me, it starts to reverse. So I just wanted to touch bases with you because I hadn't been on in a while and we hadn't chatted. Okay, everyone, welcome back. It is the end of the Friday session on April 4th. We were looking at gold. So let me take the volume profile off due to us actually the market being closed anyway, so it's not going to do us any good. So let me show y'all some important things, even though this is just to be placed into context. So with what's going on as far as gold. So we see everything crashing all around us. NAS, we've had some pretty big drops in the market today. That's kind of lasted most of the end of this past week. So with that in mind, we're trying to determine whether or not we're crashing and we're going to continue, or if we're still going to keep the same uptrend that we've been having. So looking at the daily time frame, it closed strong. We did have a rejection wick on the daily in the demand area, and it looks to be rejecting off that area, being that that candle is not closed yet, and we will find out on Monday what that candle is going to do. We can try to make some moves based on that. If you're on the long term, we can see that it closed below the 50 moving average. Let's just see where we are. Stand by. Let's just see where we are with the 200 as well. So the blue is the 200, the red is the 50 moving average. It's trending below the 50, but still above the 200. The 200 I typically use on the bigger time frames. When I'm on a smaller time frame getting ready to execute a trade, I'll use the 50 pretty much all the way up to probably the 1 hour in some instances. But taking that in mind and using that moving average as a support and resistance, we can see that the 200 is still showing it on the upside. If we drop down to the 15-minute and take the 200 off, just using the 50 that I use for the lower time frame, it's trading below. So like I said, with this trade, it's 50-50. I just wanted to see how the week closed. Let's look at the weekly candle to determine that. So on the weekly candle, it looks like we have not a huge volume candle, but it is giving us more bearish sentiment than it is bullish. Excuse me, y'all. But yeah, so we're still in the middle of whether or not this is going to kind of go up here to this previous support level that is acting as resistance, or if it's going to fill any gaps. It's a small gap in there. But I mean, there's a lot of room for it to move in either direction. So I don't want to set in stone what my bias may be or can be. I do know it rejected off of the demand zone and then it broke back above some key areas. So like I said, with the news and on the 5-minute, there's some consolidation right before the close of session today. So just keep an open mind, study your charts, do some back testing this weekend. Be safe if you're going to be out. I know on Saturday here in our area, it's going to be kind of wet for most of the day on Saturday. But I just wanted to bring that analysis with the close of the market being effective, and let's just get ready to prepare for next week. Thank y'all for tuning in, and until next time, peace.